Welcome to TradeTheMBA.com. This is Jonas Reports for the 5th of February, and well, more of the same. And we're not doing anything differently so far. We had some negative results from, I think it was Google that reported. That's all going to be part and parcel of some of the adjustments that people are going to have to get used to when it comes to where things are from an economic standpoint. And it's going to take some time before things level out and you get a consistent read. It does appear that we're going to have to see what the impact will be with some of the budget cutting that's taking place and how that will impact growth, because we've seen that with the huge amount of deficits that have been applied, spending an awful lot of money for very little economic growth. When we look at it from a DOC standpoint, you can see we're stuck here with orange caught between cyan and red. That's just a no-go. That's just a continuation move, which is to the downside, actually. In this particular case, is where we've been moving. Finally getting little upspurts in between there, kind of holding on. And that's okay, because it's sort of, you've got this negative shakeout reading, but we're starting to see a little bit of a gold rise there. And so that may be enough to support things and keeping anything from getting too far out. We're getting a reset here of the magenta as well as yellow, and that helps. The fact that steel has finally come down from, this broader area here when we were in that downturn, it helps things. But the end result is just that people are still uncertain about where the direction of things go. And not surprising, it's going to take some time for that to get worked through. And you hear a lot of things. World developments obviously will have some impact. Obviously, saw that. Trump's taking over Gaza. I don't know if we're actually buying it, the U.S. is, or leasing it, but they're going to rebuild it and make it a safe place. So, anything you do that towards ending Middle East conflict, and that obviously that's going to have a bonus from an oil standpoint, because you're not going to have that threat, which underlies some of the pricing that goes into it, is that potential for disruption. From an NQ standpoint, you can see we're now back below the 50%, still riding above with the magenta over yellow, so shouldn't be too painful, so to speak. But again, you get the same problem here when you look at the DOC. Now, they're all converging at this particular point, so I think the NASDAQ is going to be the pointer, so to speak, because you're going to get your first crossover setups there. You're either going to get a reversal back of cyan, in which case then shorts will have taken over. But as soon as green passes over there, that would be enough to suggest that you're going to have strong support right at this middle level. So those are the areas to look for. Of course, we'll see it intraday before it happens. From a treasury standpoint, they're just treading water. That's just going back and forth. Nobody's really confirmed yet what the Fed is going to think of this. Will they be able to justify higher rates if oil keeps dropping? Not so much. Now, it rebounded quite a bit off the dip here that took it down into the 70s. Will it be able to sustain that? I don't think so, because the headwinds towards it are real. Now, will the Ukrainians continue to affect Russia's supply on the issue, and how effective that will be remains to be seen. We can see that the new Interior Secretary is already going after removing Biden's restrictions. So how soon that takes place definitely will have an impact, and we'll start to see how the market reacts to that. But that should put heavy weight on the Nasdaq. The euro been rising for these last couple of days, just out of excitement over what we don't have any idea, because there's nothing in the eurozone that's doing great. But that's okay. Clean crossover from there. No real short activity going on. Could be just the support of the U.S. just trying to make sure that the euro doesn't implode completely, because it gets, they're still in danger zone. Now you're right at the edge of it here. If you can get above 104.5, then you get back into that range where you're scared, but you're still alive. But as we see any numbers coming out of the EU could be problematic. Now, the expectation is the U.S. will be dipping lower when they start reporting numbers, and that's kind of the impetus to suggest that the U.S. will be failing. Now, as we talked about, gold continuing its move. So the expectation here is that, hey, inflation's not done and it's not under control at this particular stage. And they think that the tariff, this is that whole idea that tariffs are just going to create all this massive inflation, and that's causing everyone to want to be into gold. So good for them. It's not a good choice. From a Bitcoin standpoint, then the whole idea here is you get a little bit better read, because this is actually a more practical thing. They've come back from the idea that inflation is now going to be runaway, and I think that you're likely to see prices stabilize and actually decline. I think that will have more of a net negative effect from a crypto standpoint. We should go to 50K. Yeah, right there. So you can see the bouncing around within that. We had the spike here of the MBI white for a brief moment, but magenta kind of stayed up. But then as soon as magenta broke right there, then you get the effect of that. And it should take it to the 50% range. And it's now taking the lead again. And so if you get to that 50 and we still continue to go with MBI white leading, I think that we have to really start looking at move towards the 0%. Here in the post-market, not a whole lot of excitement, and this is that post effect of Google reporting. When we look at it from an intraday, it was just pretty clean going forward, but now what we've done is we're just going back to fill all those positive extremes, going all the way back. It's right about there. So if we just scroll back across, you'll see that we've filled that back in. Everybody's happy. It's all clean, all straightforward. And we just continue to follow the readings. As always, though, anything relevant, I will put on the Skype chat for you. Have a good one. Trade well.